This is a production of WKNO Memphis. Production funding for Sports Files is made possible in part by the WKNO Production Fund, the WKNO Endowment Fund, and by viewers like you. Thank you.
My guests today on Sports Files are former NFL players Harry Shue and Aaron Hayden. In January of 1967, the Green Bay Packers were crowned the first winner of the newly created AFL-NFL World Championship. It was a nice victory for Packer Nation, but from a national sports standpoint, it was nothing to write home about. Tickets were readily available and the game didn't even sell out. The name Super Bowl was not even used until the third AFL-NFL get-together. Today, the Super Bowl is an event. In fact, it's the biggest event in all of sports. Only on Thanksgiving is more food consumed in the United States than on Super Bowl Sunday. The big game is annually the most watched television event of the year in the United States, and Super Bowl 45 is the single most watched American television broadcast in history, with over 111 million viewers. It is also one of the most watched broadcasts worldwide. This Sunday, the San Francisco 49ers will meet the Baltimore Ravens in New Orleans. It'll be the 10th time that the Big Easy has hosted the big game. And today on Sports Files, we'll preview the contest and talk NFL football with two gentlemen who not only played the game, but played in the Super Bowl. Harry Shue was a two-time All-American at the University of Memphis, then Memphis State. He was the second overall pick in the 1965 NFL Draft. He played 10 years in the National Football League and was a participant in Super Bowl II with the Oakland Raiders. Aaron Hayden rushed for over 2,000 yards at the University of Tennessee. He was a member of the 1991 SEC All-Freshman team and a fourth-round selection of the San Diego Chargers in 1995. He played 4 seasons in the NFL and was a member of the Green Bay Packers in Super Bowl 32. We'll break the huddle next on Sports Files. Harry, Aaron, thank you so much for being with us. We appreciate it as we get ready for the big game on Sunday, something that both of you have had a chance to participate in. A little different, I think, from Harry's game and Aaron's game as far as the decades apart. But Harry, you played in one of the first. And back then, as I mentioned, AFL, NFL World Championship wasn't even called the Super Bowl. A lot has changed since. But what do you remember from that game as the Raiders played in that contest?
Well, it was big for us because we won the American Football League championship with a 13-1 record, and we got there. It was really great to be playing against a lot of big names, you know, Ernie Davis and a lot of good names, the linebackers that were out of sight. They tore your head off, but they were a Hoyle team, run a 4-3-4, but they ran it right. And with Lombardi as the coach, they said it. You run the sweep, you have to learn to stop it. You're not going to stop that sweep.
Jim Taylor, Bart Starr, Ray Nitschke, the stars for the Green Bay Packers. But you had your own stars as well. But when you went into that game, knowing that it was pride, AFL versus NFL, but obviously you didn't have any understanding of how big this was going to be, does it amaze you when you think of where this game is now from when you played it?
Oh, yes. You know, you look at the highlights prior to the game showing different segments of the different years, but the two big giants out there, out in the middle of Miami Stadium, that was our era. That was the two, the Raider and the Green Bay Packer. That brings back memories. It's nice to know that yours was there. And we did well that day, but it was a lot of fun memories, made a lot of friends on both sides of the ball. I played next to Billy Cannon in the game. Had Jim Otto. Had
Hall of Famers.
Hall of Famer. Had another one. I had a young man from Ole Miss, James Harvey. Was on the other side, and then of course we had Shell and Shaw,
Art Shell?
No, Shell wasn't there yet. He came the following year.
Oh, okay.
It was Bob Swias was there. Shell was the swingman for Bob and I. If we went down hurt, he would come in. And that's where he got started.
So obviously fond memories from Super Bowl II.
Oh, yes.
Aaron, you played in Super Bowl 35 with the Green Bay Packers, losing to Denver 31-24. Your memories of the big game?
I remember the week going into it and all the celebrity events and seeing superstars out and the music industry and the hip hop rappers and the basketball players. It's just, mine's a lot different probably than Harry's, because that whole 2 weeks, that first week is all about hoopla, and you're trying to get to all the events and make your curfew and get back, and then you go to practice. So it was a lot for me to take in. Then about the seventh day, you're ready to kind of settle back down and get ready to play football.
But were you
play
able to? Were you, as a team, practice the way you needed to practice to be ready for the game? Were you able to settle down with all the distractions?
Yeah, I think we were. And with that team, it was back-to-back Super Bowl appearances. So they were accustomed to what the day and what the weeks look like coming into it. So they had a kind of a dry run the year before. So they knew exactly what they could do. And then at what point the captains, Reggie White and Leroy Butler, Brett Favre, would say, okay, everybody needs to bunker down. Let's get ready for the game. You
were giggling a little bit when I talked about curfew. First of all, in your game, there wasn't 2 weeks separating, right?
Yes, there was.
There was still 2 weeks?
Yes.
So what was that like back then when it wasn't the game it is today?
Well, it's the same. You really prepared yourself the first week. Get all the hoopla out of the way.
Right.
Then when you go down to where you're going to stay, it's not like it is today. I mean, they swamp you. You don't have any breathing room unless you lock yourself in your room. But we were able to do a lot of things. You know, you had guys, the ones they went after were the Ben Davisons and the Lamonicas and the Blandas and Blitnikovs. They went after those people. They didn't go. But now today they interview everybody. They don't leave nobody untouched, which is nice. At the time, it's not nice, but afterwards it's great.
You were in Miami for your game.
Right.
What was it like down there, just that whole atmosphere?
It was nice. We stayed up in Homestead. We actually stayed down there a week afterwards. But it was hot. It's been cool in the Bay Area. And then you go out there, that's kind of warm. That humidity is a little different. It's like in the wintertime, you get the East Coast teams coming out west, and they die in the third quarter, so you have a chance.
But Aaron, you were out in San Diego, which is interesting because San Diego, the Chargers, the team that drafted you, and you got to play with the Packers in San Diego. What was that like playing out there? I know it's absolutely beautiful weather in San Diego.
Oh, absolutely beautiful, and it was pretty much like coming back home for me. So I was unfortunately the designated event planner. So I had to get everybody, tell everybody where everything is, where you might want to go, where you might not want to go. And then I still had my Chargers teammates who were calling me and saying, hey, let's go do this. So I had a ball. What
was, give us a story, maybe an event that happened leading up to the game that nobody knows about, that's something maybe behind the scenes, because we hear the stories, I'll get to Harry in a second, about the Packers and about their McGee, the receiver, and going out and partying all night. Was anybody breaking curfew? Was there any stories that we need to know here?
Yeah, I won't say any names because, you know, what stays in the locker room, what goes on in the locker room stays in the locker room. But we did have some stars that cut curfew the night before, and they end up probably making the two biggest plays to help Denver win the game. So some people probably can figure out what happened, but during that last drive when we had the ball, there was maybe an interception thrown and a ball bouncing off a guy's head, and those two guys.
So we're going to be able to piece this together.
In trouble, so I mean, I'm sure the story's out somewhere, but I think that did come into play, and a lot of guys, you know, you kind of question that when everybody's supposed to, at some point, say, okay, we're about the game and not about the Super Bowl.
Right. So many days you could have fun and party the night before the Super Bowl, and we always hear the story about Max McGee, and he played incredible.
Twice.
But what about with the Raiders? Did you?
He went out the night before, and then the tight end got hurt, and he had to replace the way they replaced him.
Right.
He catches the first play when he comes in the game and goes 40 some yards.
Yeah,
for
he didn't miss a beat.
And he didn't miss a beat. He got most valuable player both times.
Which is different than Aaron's story about the players that he played with in Green Bay. But what about with Oakland? I know you weren't breaking any curfews, but what about any of your
teammates? Not with Al
teammates?
Davis, you didn't break curfews.
So he laid down the rules and the law.
The rules, and everybody, you were put in an area, and you better be found in that area. They had the coaches coming at all hours of the night.
Let's talk about this Super Bowl matchup. You have the Baltimore Ravens. Most people, I don't know, maybe not most, but a lot thought the New England Patriots would do what they did last year to them and beat them, although it was close. It was 23-20 last year. Baltimore gets the revenge this year. And it's the same situation in the NFC with San Francisco. They had lost last year, and now they have their chance to play in the Super Bowl. So San Francisco and Baltimore, two good defensive teams. Interesting quarterback matchup. We always talk about the great quarterbacks of the Super Bowl. You have a young quarterback in Colin Kaepernick, who took over the job halfway through the season, and Joe Flacco, who has done some really good things, especially winning on the road in the playoffs. But here's a University of Delaware guy, a 1AA, and a University of Nevada guy in the spotlight.
Right.
Harry, your thoughts, first of all, on the matchup and the quarterback matchup.
Well, I picked both my teams that I picked going in are there. The 49ers in Baltimore. Baltimore was coming back off all their injuries. Their players were coming back. The key man who wants to win for the last time, he announces his retirement.
Ray Lewis.
Ray Lewis has really brought them on. They're coming on strong. I like the Ravens. But then you take the quarterbacks. Now I'm gonna tell you what, you better appreciate the 49er quarterback. He runs a 4.40. He's 6'5.5" and can fly. And if he gets that opening and he runs that option, he's gone.
You didn't have that guy back in your day, did you?
No, I think I had George Blanda, and I didn't think George was 50.
Well, speaking of that, Aaron, with Kaepernick, the whole dimension, the read option, does that give San Francisco the advantage, or will youth finally be a factor? He hasn't shown his youth yet. He hasn't shown his inexperience. He's taken all these big games and he's run with it. Will it finally come to a head in the Super Bowl?
I don't think so. I do think it's one heck of a matchup with the quarterbacks. I think Flacco is he makes a lot of great decisions with the ball. He doesn't take a lot of chances. Has some great receivers that get separation. I mean, they separate from the DBs. I mean, they threw over Champ Bailey, one of the best to ever play the game, 4 or 5 times in that game. So they have speed. Then you have Bolden with the physicalness. They can run the ball with Ray Rice. I mean, I just think it's a heck of a matchup. But Flacco is more of a Joe Montana type, lead his team down the field, doesn't take many chances. And I think on the opposite side of the ball, you have Frank Gore that nobody's really talking about. That's really going to be the difference. I really see the matchup being Ray Lewis versus Frank Gore. If he can control the middle and they can't just run the ball when they want to, then you take the read option out of the equation because you have Suggs and those guys that can pinch down.
Good point.
And stop them. So I think it's going to really be Frank Gore, but I just don't see Kaepernick choking. I really don't. I don't think he understands how big it is.
Yeah, maybe he'll understand it down the road. And
it's just that the linebackers are back and 100% for the Ravens. And I think if they get their shots, they're going to take their shots.
Right. Well, Aaron talked about Gore against Lewis and the linebacking core for Baltimore. How about Ray Rice against the great San Francisco linebacking core led by Patrick Willis? What about Rice?
They're great.
Will they be able to run Baltimore on San Francisco's defense?
That's going to be the thing about it. The back is short.
Yeah.
What's he, 5'10", 5'9", something like that? And he is powerful. He gets underneath you. And everybody wants a head tackle these days. Nobody wants to stick their head down in there. And he's right there, boy. You're gonna feel it.
Why do you think, maybe it's just the changing times, we know the NFL has become more of a passing league, but the scores in these playoff games have been crazy. Why? Aaron?
Well, I think the spread offense causes you to change your personnel. And now you have less linebackers. You may play with 2 linebackers and 6 DBs, and you're trying to play with cover corners, and your safeties that have to be excellent tacklers. Now, that's the difference to me for San Francisco, is those guys are solid, back old school type, Ronnie Lott type tacklers. And when you break the secondary, you don't really make those guys miss. On the other side, I don't know if the Ravens, a lot of times they leave it up to Ed Reed to kind of come down like a linebacker and make plays. And I could quite possibly see that being a problem for them.
Is it overblown how much? Well, we know Ray Lewis is extremely important to the team. is it overblown that one player can be that emotional leader, that you can overcome anything by following an emotional leader? I don't know if you had one per se and you had one per se with the teams that you played on in the Super Bowl, but can Ray Lewis, in other words, will them to victory?
If you have a cheerleader out there that keeps you going and talks positive, is very good. You have to know your teammates and how you can handle yourself. There's 11 different personalities on that field at one time, and you have to know how to handle each one of them differently. But he has the type of attitude that he gets attention from them all, because this is going to be his last game. They're going to play for him. They love the guy.
Lewis has been there. He's won a Super Bowl.
He's been there.
He's an experienced player. There's not a lot of them that'll be playing for either team. How important?
Well, that defense is built around Ray Lewis,
right,
and keeping people off of him in the way they play their fronts. You never get guards and centers or really the fullback one-on-one with them, and only he knows where to be at the right time. You can put a backup in there, but it's not as easy for that guy to know where to be. This guy's been doing it for, 16, 17 seasons, playing in that system built for him. And I can remember playing with Brett Favre, and it could be the most strenuous, stressful situation in a football game, and you're starting to tense up, and he'd come in there and crack a joke and just relax everybody. Or like I was the running back, so I stood next to him, and I played in the days where you could hear what was coming over the mic, the plays they were calling, and I could hear the play, and then he'd look at me and smile and call something else, and that would just relax you so much, and guys would just rally behind it because we wanted to see it work, so we could see Mike Holmgren get mad as we came off the field, scoring a touchdown. So yeah, I think a guy can will you to victory sometimes.
Could you imagine being the father of the Harbaughs, Jim and John? This is crazy.
Oh, Mama's sitting on one side, and Dad's sitting on the other. I think they're going to switch this time. Change jerseys on the way underneath the tunnel. And
it's probably the only fair way to do it, right?
Well, they've done it, but they stayed on each side.
Yeah.
So, but
it just says an awful lot about the father. Obviously, the coaching genes.
Yeah.
Right.
Came down to John, came down to Jim eventually. Jim has been amazing. We know John has been very consistent, but it says an awful lot about this family and that father.
Very good. Oh, yes.
Of course, the mom, too, but I'm talking about from the coaching standpoint.
Yeah, one's more fired up than the other.
All right, let's get some predictions here. Baltimore, San Francisco. Who wins the Super Bowl and why? Harry?
I like Baltimore because they're going to play for a fella that everybody loves, and he's there. He don't care how hard he plays this time because it's his last game. He's announced he's retiring, and I think they'll just rally around him. If you notice, they got their offensive line back last week, and they really played great, or played fantastic. It's the best I've seen him play. He got off the ball quick and everything. All the linemen seem to be good because Flickle, he has to stay right in the pocket. He's not one of those really running out of the pocket. And he's staying in there, and they got to make that horseshoe in there for him and keep him safe.
All right, Aaron, how do you see it?
I'm a little torn here. I played my last year in Philly when I tried to come back out there. I was hurt with Jim. Jim was the special teams coach, and he is just a great guy. He's a great person. And then I grew up in Detroit. Of course, John was at Michigan, and I kind of grew up loving John Harbaugh, and then he went to the Bears. So I'm a little torn, and then I want to see Ray Lewis win. But at the end of the day, X's and O's, I think San Francisco wins, simply because they can put pressure on the quarterback. They can run the football, and I think with Crabtree and Vernon Davis will be the key. I really believe Vernon Davis will be the key because the Ravens won't be able to play 7 in the box if they can stretch the field with the tight end.
I just hope it's a nice, good, close game.
Yeah, competitive game, absolutely.
Or even if they're both scoring, a high-scoring game, like it's been going on, a lot of high scores, but going right down to the wire.
Final minute: is there a Super Bowl that stands out for you that you've watched over the years?
Yeah, the last one, the share was $84,000. It was $42,000 for the losers. I got $7,500 for the losers.
You got $7,500 for the losers.
Yeah, and then they're going to get 48.
That's $48,000 for the losers share. Yours was again
$7,500.
75. Aaron's, what was yours?
I think we got 85.
Yeah.
You got 85?
85.
So it has really increased even from the mid-90s.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
There's a lot of changes falling on the floor. We just had to grab it and run.
Harry, thank you so much. Aaron, an absolute pleasure. Enjoy the game. Stick around, though. We're going to talk a little tailgating and Super Bowl party because we know it's a big event coming up on Sunday. So we'll take a quick break. We'll come back with overtime right after this. The biggest dilemma for people on Super Bowl Sunday is not who to root for, but rather which party to attend. It's become a rite of passage to treat the day like a holiday. In fact, the Monday after is normally a day where work production across the board is, well, at a minimum. It's commonplace for people to call out of work citing colds, flu, migraines, etc. Of course, we all know better. It's a case of partyitis. So with that said, we went to school on Super Bowl food. Chef Gentry at L'Ecole Culinaire gave us his Super Bowl picks on food, that is.
Hi, I'm Chef James Gentry coming to you from L'Ecole Culinaire, Memphis, Tennessee. We're located on Germantown Parkway. Today we're going to make a twist on nachos, kind of favoring the San Francisco 49ers. This one's going to be tuna, and in place of normal tortilla shells, we're going to use wontons. Another little twist that we're going to do is basically with the dressing that you would normally put on top of the nachos. So let's get started. First, we're going to go ahead and make the dressing for the top. And we're going to start with a little bit of mayonnaise. We're going to add just a touch of sesame oil. And then everybody's favorite sriracha. Now, this is where you can make it as hot or as cold as you want as far as heat-wise preference for you or family or guest or whatever. After that, we're going to go ahead and set that to the side. What I have here are normal wonton shells. We're going to take those, deep fry them just until they get nice golden brown, pull them out, lightly salt them. We're going to go ahead and set those to the side. Next up, we're going to go ahead and start prepping our tuna. Now, you can do this two ways. You could go ahead and just slice it like normal sushi tuna, or you could chop it up and mince it. Me personally, I'm going to slice it so it looks like sushi. We're going to slice it. Now I'm going to take that and set it to the side. What I've done here is slice a little bit of Napa cabbage. Napa cabbage is an Asian style of cabbage. We're just going to take that, slice it up like this. After we slice it, we're going to throw that to the side for a second. Now it's time to plate. So on this, what we're going to do is go ahead and throw our wonton shells down on your serving board, plate, whatever you're going to use. I'm going to go ahead and put the sliced tuna on top of the wontons, lightly scattered, just random. It doesn't have to be perfect. From there, we're going to take and put the cabbage over top. This is going to act as our lettuce for the traditional nachos. I'm going to scatter some cilantro leaves, a couple of the tomatoes, and of course, if you don't have cherry tomatoes or Roma tomatoes or whatever, you can just dice some tomatoes and throw those on there. Throw those on there. Then we're going to take our sauce that we made earlier, squirt all over the top of it, and there you go. The real famous style of pizza in California is smoked salmon pizza. This one's going to be quick and easy for you at home. Everybody loves pizza on the Super Bowl, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a pizza shell. We're going to take and roll it out. If you want to, you can do this in the oven, or you can do this on a grill. So you take your pizza dough, throw it on the grill, let it start to puff a little bit. Give it about 10, 20 seconds on one side, flip it, and do another 10, 20 seconds on the other side. Basically, you're wanting the whole thing to look crispy to somewhat. So if it's not completely done, go ahead and flip it back over the other side and then flip it back over once again. Basically, you're just trying to make sure that it's done, but you don't want it to burn at the same time. After you've done that, we're gonna take and make a little bit of spread to go on top of it. A little bit of sour cream, a little bit of fresh dill, and a little bit of fresh garlic if you have it. If not, you can use the granulated garlic that you keep at the house. Mix that together, spread that on the bottom. Take and spread a little bit of the smoked salmon all over the top, just random slice all over the place. After that, we're gonna take and put some arugula. The arugula we're just gonna dress with a little bit of lemon juice, scatter it all over the top, and there you go, smoked salmon pizza. Bon appetit.
Thanks, Chef. Well, Harry and Aaron, we got a special treat for you because we're getting ready for the big party on Sunday, the Super Bowl Sunday party. This is called a taco square. This was a recipe that Jenny Fuente, that's Justin Fuente's wife, the head coach, of course, of the University of Memphis, gave us to make. So we want you guys to indulge in this, have a piece, tell us how it is. That could be a part of your Super Bowl Sunday party if you like it that much. So enjoy, bon appetit. So what do I think about Sunday's game? Well, I did pick the 49ers to get there, so it should be an easy call for me. I had the Pats knocking off the Ravens. But with that said, I think the Ravens will take it. I like the growing confidence of quarterback Joe Flacco, the ability to run the ball with Ray Rice, and if you believe in fate, Ray Lewis is supposed to ride off into the sunset with another Lombardi trophy. Isn't he? Baltimore 31, San Francisco 27 in the first ever Har Bowl. And that'll do it for this week's show. If you want the recipe for the taco squares or to see any of our previous shows, go to our website at WKNO.org and click on KNO Tonight. Enjoy the Super Bowl.